Jokić on the wing. The three.
Physicality right there. When you see them getting extra possessions, just kind of manning the glass, that's Aaron Gordon's territory.
And now they don't stop me and I get locked up. They won't let me out. They won't let me.
Nikola Jokić had his worst shooting night of his postseason career, shooting 26.9% from the field. He made just 7 field goals, went 2 of 10 from long range.
48 hours later.
Good defense from McDaniels. He's been in foul trouble the whole game so far. Jokić spins, flips it up. One-on-one. Jokić inside, can't get at the tip.
When you look at the 2026 playoffs so far, you've basically got 2 teams and 2 superstars getting labeled in what people are calling the biggest playoff choke conversation we've seen. And listen to this, the first week, the name sitting at the top of that list was Kevin Durant, along with the Houston Rockets. Right now, they're against the Los Angeles Lakers. They're already down 0-3. Durant only appeared in 1 of those games, and in that outing, he piled up 9 turnovers. At that point in the opening week, Durant was being labeled as the biggest playoff disappointment in the entire league. But then week 2 hit, and the spotlight shifted hard to Nikola Jokić as the one taking that crown. Because when you break down the 4 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's really only had 1 strong half outside of Game 1. After that, it's been like he's disappeared in stretches, almost like a ghost in key moments. In Game 2's 4th quarter, it was a full-on collapse. He finished just 1 for 9 in that stretch from the field. Then Game 3 started ugly right away. He went 0 for 7, just bricking shot after shot. By the end of it, he finished 7 for 26 overall. Then came Game 4, and that was the worst showing yet. In the biggest 4th quarter of the series, he completely vanished when his team needed him most, just nowhere to be found when it mattered.
One-on-one. Jokić inside, can't get at the tip, misses Gobert, another rebound. Jokić. Murray sets the screen, Jokić goes right at Gobert, can't get at the ball. Jokić and Gobert, one-on-one. 7 on the 24, Jokić spinning, turning, leaning, flips it up, shot, no good.
Hold up. Nikola Jokić in Games 3 and 4 against Minnesota in Minnesota completely fell flat across both outings. Across those 2 games combined, he shot just 31% from the field, 15% from 3, and under 40% from 2-point range. And listen, for a player of Jokic's caliber, the so-called Mr. Efficiency, this right here is straight up awful basketball. Now, don't even just look at the box score from Game 4 alone. The body language, the energy, the overall vibe coming from Denver was just off from the jump. Game 4 was a full-blown disaster. And then you get to that 4th quarter. No killer instinct, no takeover mentality, nothing to grab control of the series. And when you watch the final moments, it gets even worse. That whole Jokić-McDaniels confrontation situation was just embarrassing. For 47 minutes, this team showed little to no fight at all. But then in the final 10 seconds, trying to get into it with McDaniels like that? I mean, come on. That's just clown behavior and an embarrassing stretch from Nikola Jokić.
Jokić and McDaniels square up. Players trying to break it up. There's still 1.3 remaining.
That right there from Nikola Jokić honestly felt like rock bottom. Game 3, 7 for 26? Listen, that's just bad. An all-time dud, no way around it. But when you zoom into Game 4, especially that 4th quarter no-show and the loss of composure, I personally think it gets even worse. And hold up, look at the full context of what Minnesota was dealing with early. In the 1st quarter, Dante DiVincenzo goes down just a minute in with an Achilles injury. He's done for. Anthony Edwards hyperextended his knee a quarter later. He's out for the rest of the game and possibly the series. So Minnesota is already taking 2 massive blows right there. 2 injuries that, in most situations, should have ended Denver's chances. And in that exact moment, the Nuggets should have just closed the door and run away with it. Instead, what do? They start playing with their food, getting cute, and showing zero killer instinct. And let's be real, you never root for injuries. Nobody wants that in the game. But in Game 4, the reality is that those injuries gave the Denver Nuggets a golden opportunity to tie the series at 2-2. In the second half, what did we get from the Joker? 10 points, 1 for 10 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, and 3 turnovers. He also finished a -6. And that 4th quarter and second half stretch in Game 4, man, that's beyond concerning. The stat line alone looks terrible, but the lack of composure makes it look even worse.
Randall all alone. Johnson leans in. Layup, no good. Gobert's tip misses. Jokić comes out of the pack. Big close to traveling, and then throws it away. Jokić throws it, stolen by Conley.
Looking at those turnovers right there, listen, it's just careless, low IQ basketball that makes absolutely no sense in that moment. That fourth quarter from Nikola Jokić was him completely unraveling, and the entire Denver Nuggets squad followed right behind him. And when you break down Denver in that fourth quarter, out of 16 shots, they only knocked down 3. Nikola Jokić went 0 for 6. Jamal Murray went 3 for 6. Tim went 0 for 3, and Cam Johnson was 0 for 1. And listen, this entire group led by Jokić has straight up choked this series away. They gagged Game 3 and then doubled down in Game 4. Now zoom out and look at the Joker's entire playoff career. His worst fourth quarters, games where he's taken at least 5 shots and shot under 20%, he only has 2 of those on his resume. The first one was in the 2026 Game 2 matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he went 1 for 7. The second one came just 2 games later in Game 4, also against Minnesota, where he went 0 for 6. And what you're looking at here isn't just the worst series of Nikola Jokic's career, it's shaping up to be one of the biggest MVP-level playoff collapses we've ever seen.
1-point game. Jokić for 3.
Hands up!
Short air ball. When all else fails, they'll get back to this 2-man game. Jokić can't hit. 4-time defensive player of the year. Jokić nearly lost it, got it back. Couldn't score.
If you really want to talk about the biggest playoff choke jobs from MVP-level superstars, you've got to bring up names like LeBron James in 2011, Kobe Bryant in 2004, Stephen Curry in 2016, and even Kevin Durant that same year. And yeah, those series were rough, no question. But here's the key difference people always forget. At their worst, those moments were happening in the Western Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals, not early rounds. Now compare that to this situation with Nikola Jokić. This is the first round against what's being called an undermanned Minnesota squad. And what makes it feel even more familiar is that it's giving shades of that 2007 Dirk Nowitzki series against the Golden State Warriors, where things completely unraveled late. In that series, Dirk's fourth quarter production dropped to around 5.8 points per game with inefficient shooting and a negative plus-minus impact. Now, when you look at Jokic's numbers this series, it's somehow trending even worse in those late-game moments. We're talking roughly 4.8 points per fourth quarter, shooting under 24%, and a negative 3.8 plus-minus in those stretches. And listen, there's no way to spin those numbers, no matter how you try to frame it. When you isolate the last 3 quarters, it's been extremely poor production across the board. Across games 2 through 4, you're looking at just 12 total points from the field in those fourth quarters combined. He's going 2 for 16 from the field in that span, and 1 for 3 from 3 with a minus 19 plus-minus overall. And in Game 4 specifically, in that fourth quarter in Minnesota, he actually had more turnovers than made field goals across those late-game moments. Now, one thing that has to be mentioned, Nikola Jokić is 31 years old and has played in 17 playoff series in his career, and for the most part, he's been outstanding in those runs. Even in series losses, he's rarely been a player who just disappears from start to finish. Like everybody, he's had bad games here and there, but not usually full series collapses like what people are arguing here. Now, when you stack his numbers against his own playoff history, it paints a rough picture. In scoring, he's sitting near the bottom tier of his own career range in this series. Shooting efficiency-wise, especially from deep, it's been some of the lowest marks of his postseason career. And across key categories, he's ranking near the bottom compared to his own playoff standards. And look, when you talk about superstar legacies, moments like this stick the same way a stain does. It doesn't just disappear overnight, whether people want it to or not. So win or lose from here, this series is already going to be part of the conversation around his legacy. That's the breakdown. Appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.